Welcome to the show, everyone. You know, I absolutely love talking about everybody else but me on my show, and I just love the information that people get that are listening. My first guest, first of all, I am so thankful to have had you. Number one, you were a listener years and years and years ago. Now you've been on the show. Thank you. You're also one of my sponsors. I have with me Susan Tanko, and she's the president of WCI Business Sales. And I just appreciate all that you supporting me and the show. And I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about yourselves and what you do, because it is very interesting. There's a lot of people out there that may be thinking about this, especially now it's a summer, slow time, right? But I want you to talk a little bit about WCI and what they do. You've been around forever. These are the people that you need to call if you're thinking of buying or selling a business.
Thanks, Carol, for having me on again. Hi, everyone, again. Glad you joined us. Real short, the WCI Business Sales has been around almost 60 years. Originally started as AAA Investments. My father changed the name several times and sold it to my partner and I. But we've always been WCI since he got rid of the AAA and Yellow Pages. So that's how long we've been around. We charge no fees up front. We charge nothing until you hit a closing, and we get paid through escrow, so no upfront fees, which is unusual. We don't charge buyers any fees at all. We represent only sellers, and we are, like I said, the oldest business brokerage in Arizona. We're now located at 24th Street in Camelback. I have two other partners, Dennis and Vinny, very active. We have at any given time over 100 listings, bringing in new stuff all the time. We reach out to our 60,000 registered buyers twice a month. So we have people fighting over our deals, which is really great for a seller. We can put top value on them, and we get 2 or 3 backups sometimes. I have that going on this morning. Almost didn't make it over here because I'm so slammed. And it's good for a seller. So we really enjoy what we do.
You do. And 80 years combined.
60.
How many? 60 years?
60 years in business. If you add
Combined,
all of
yeah.
the combined experience, it's over 300 in our office.
Amazing.
15 agents.
So today we want to talk about some things that I think are very interesting. The first thing that you wanted me to ask you was why buy a business versus starting your own business or buying a franchise?
So franchises are great for people that want someone's arms around them. Lots of brokerages sell just franchises. Some of those are startups, so you have to go out and hire your own people, hire within the territory that you buy. So there's a whole thing to it, and that's considered a startup franchise. Sometimes you can buy a master franchise, which are, maybe it's Mesa, Gilbert, Tempe, that would be a nice large franchise, triple dip right there. But those businesses aren't making any money coming in, and they can't really tell you what you will make. They can only show you the financials of their flight startup location, and maybe you can talk to some of the other franchisees as to what they're making and what they're doing, which is really cool. So that is a franchise buyer. We do have some of those buyers, but we don't focus on franchises. We focus on mom and pop businesses, PE groups, MA acquisition stuff. It's coming in anywhere from $1 million in price. Actually, we go lower than that, but our sweet spot is $1 million to like 15 million. So, and some of those include real estate.
And so we're going to talk about that. So why does somebody then buy lease versus buying real estate?
So jumping into the real estate question, do you want to buy a business that has real estate attached to it? You buy everything at once, or would you rather take on a lease, which if you go SBA, they require a 10-year lease. So let's say the owner that's in there now is 5 years into a 10-year lease and has a 5-year option. Well, That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you still have to add another 5 because you have to have a total of 10 years home for the business when you get an SBA loan. A lot of businesses that we sell, and some of the really large ones, have no lease at all. They're home-based, or all their people are 1099 independent contractors in other states bringing in business, and you have no lease to deal with at all. Those are my favorites.
That's awesome.
Even though I sell real estate and I'm a real estate agent. But I have another one, for instance, I'm talking to a gentleman, he has a building that's worth, around $4 million. He has a business that's worth $2.5 million. That particular business might be a challenge getting an SBA loan, but it might balance out because when you get an SBA loan, you have to put 10% down liquid on the business, and you have to put 5 to 10% down on the real estate, and you get 2 separate loans. You get a 7A on the business, you get a 504 on the real estate, and they do a blended average. So now your payment's lower because it's taken longer, and now it makes sense. So why buy the real estate? Because you control your rent.
Well, that right there is very huge.
Especially once you get the building paid off. Now, if you're having a hard year and you don't want to pay rent from one LLC to the other, don't pay rent. So that's what's really cool. We're doing a lot of 1031 exchanges right now where people are selling their building, and there is a lack of commercial real estate at a decent price right now. So if you can do a 1031 exchange, we're doing some of those. But yeah, I would say it's 50-50 on real estate. We sell a lot of gas stations, liquor stores, convenience stores. Those, the real estate is included. And I have a really nice cabinet shop, real estate is included. I have a really nice medical business right now, real estate's included.
This is important, I think, because like you said, right there, you're being in control.
If you can afford it. So when you have to buy a building, now you're going to have to put more down in order for it to make sense after your debt service. So every deal is different.
But here's what I love about you that I've learned is that you're going to take that person and you're going to hold their hand and walk them through the entire process. You're going to learn so much about them first off.
Right.
And then, as you're doing that, the more you learn, the more you realize what they can and can't do.
Right, and some buyers are brand new to the process and others are not. We have very seasoned buyers. We have very wealthy buyers that don't even need the bank. And if you bring up the bank, they just throw it out.
There's money here.
Yeah, they're like, we already have the money. And they'll send you personal financial statements. That's another thing that our office does that I think is unusual is we don't shotgun listings and information across the table. We need non-disclosures, we need personal financial statements. Even on the smaller deals, if the seller has told me, seller's my client, and the seller said, I want to know that this person has $100,000, and that doesn't seem like a lot, right? But that would be a smaller deal. Seller's going to carry, he needs, a certain amount down. They are not sharing or not allowing us to share their information. It's not like real estate. I'm not sending you over to do a drive-by on the house. I need to know that you can perform.
So what you mean by that too is you got to get your stuff together. You got to know. You have to have a CPA that's going to make sure those books are all in order. When should they be calling you?
Well, there's 2 different questions there, really. There's when should a seller call me, and then when should a buyer call. I will help the buyer through the process, and that's not a problem. When should a seller call me? Yeah, when your books and records are straightened out, and let's sit down and have a talk. And if they're not, we have what's new to us is we have a gentleman we've been working with a couple of years now that will do an earnings report and find even more money. He will go through those books and records and P&Ls, and we've put higher prices on things because of him. So we have lots of people.
We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk further. Check them out on their website. It's WCI Broker with no S.com. So WCIBroker.com, and we'll be back in just a minute. You okay?
I'm good. We are the only WCI.
Okay.
We had a northern office and they shut down. They're going in a different direction.
Okay. So why do you want to say that? Do you want to?
I don't really want to say it on the air. but I know that in the past you
Well, we
had
won't
said
tell
that you have
Facebook.
a northern office.
Oh,
Yeah, so no reason to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, don't
We're
even worry
covering
about it.
that territory, we just don't have the office.
yeah, I don't think that means, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
But when you say WCI Business Sales, they dumped their WCI brokers.
So, but you have that still. Question to you, even, you know, with this, all of this changing and all of that, why don't you just get one that says that?
Because WCIBroker.com, we've been using that for probably 30-something years, so,
A long time,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's what we do, we broker.
Yeah, well, I think it's fine either way.
Yeah, and before WCI Business Sales, we were WCI Commercial, and before that, we were WCI Central,
So it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't really matter.
but the website,
But they do, you can do them where they just, you know, get reverted, turned around to it.
yeah, you can route the
Yeah,
domain.
yeah. But I think it's fine. But I like it. I would be missing saying no S.
No, we're not changing that, keep saying that. Yeah.
And when you come back, I wanna get your number out, cause we didn't have time to do that. And so, you know, and one of the things I wanted you to say, if it's okay, is for you to talk about your favorite types of businesses that you like to work with.
The ones with good books and records?
Well, that
My
would be the
favorite
first
is
thing you
accounting.
say.
I'm selling an accounting company right now. I love that. They have the
Well,
best
because
books.
they're gonna have the best books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can
CPA
explain
firm.
what they've done, yeah.
Yeah.
So, medical. It's still medical. I like medical.
Mhm.
I like knowing that I'm helping find the right person to fit the old person's spot. And it's not easy.
No, you are a matchmaker.
Yeah, I have one right now that I'm having a bit of difficulty finding a buyer because I need a buyer that's an RN or doctor or LPN high up with maybe 10, 15 years of medical experience.
30?
That can be a fiduciary as well. So it's a really neat
That's-
business. Yeah, fabulous business.
Huh.
Yeah, so if you know anyone. And someone who has 300,000 cash.
That's, you know, with all
So
of those
there's
little
three
things.
challenges.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what?
Yeah.
You'll manifest it. You will. So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Susan Tanko. She's the president of WCI Business Sales. And I do want to get their phone number out because write this number down, especially if you've got your books in order. And if not, work on them and give them a call. Their number is 602-795-2005. Okay, I did ask you at the break, and I'm gonna ask you now, get up on that mic, and I want you to tell everybody, you know, the businesses that you really like to work with.
I like to work with businesses who have good books and records. You don't need audited financials, but you need good financials, and you need monthly P&Ls. Don't wait for quarterlies, start doing those monthly with your CPA or accountant, and file your tax returns on time if you want to sell your business that same year. The bank requires that, and most sellers or buyers will require that.
Absolutely, I require it. I just think that everybody should do that automatically.
Yeah, but sometimes there's a good reason not to, so I get that.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
And that I'm not an accountant, so I don't tell people what to do unless it has to do with selling their business, and then I tell them what is required.
there's a lot of different, you did mention medical.
Yeah, I love medical businesses. I've sold everything from a huge ambulance service to little doctor's offices, chiropractic. I sell a lot of home care
That's what I was gonna mention, because I know you
businesses.
like
Yeah,
that too.
also have sold several homes that have home care there in the house. That's different than an at-home care where if you want someone to stop by and
Right.
see mom, I have a list of like 20 different businesses. I have one right now that is a fairly new listing that's people are calling on. If you're a nurse or a doctor and you have $300,000 down, I have a fiduciary service with a beautiful building that is just, if I could step into this business, you know, at one time I went to school to be a nurse. This would be the one. This is a beautiful business, and she has a crew behind her, and she's motivated.
Well, their phone number is 602-795-2005. And this is the kind of thing here right there when you said that it could be somebody that's listening right now. You could know somebody that might fit that
I do
profile.
pay real estate agents referral fees. We pay 10% off the top for any listing buyer or seller, you know, that you send us that we're not already working with.
Again, her number is 602-795-2005. So one of the things that you wanted me to ask you, and it's pretty interesting, because you wanted me to say, why do people sell a good business?
Yeah, we get that question a lot, Carol, especially when we get a really good business and it looks so good on paper and people call and say, what the heck is going on over there? Why would someone with this good of a business want to sell? Why is this even priced reasonably? We get these crazy questions. And the reason normally is people sell their businesses based on personal reasons. So they're collecting Social Security, they've had the business 20, 30, 40 years. They don't have a family member that can take over. And so they know they've been sitting on an asset, it's a nice one, and they're ready to cash it in.
Mm-hmm.
And incidentally, that's why another reason why you buy a business versus going to work for someone as an employee. You can't sell your job.
Right.
So, you know, back to your question, why would someone sell a business that they're making nice money? And maybe, you know, they're making 100,000 or less, but they still want that option to sell. And those businesses are still sellable if you have the right structure in place and you don't have to be there 24/7, because that still is a job. So another reason would be a health issue. And sadly, probably about 20% of what we sell, there is a major health issue going on where someone has to sell. And it might be with them personally, or it might be a family member, and they have to sell and they have to go live with mom in Florida. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. If not for the health reason. But yeah, so or they thought, you know, that a son or daughter was going to take over, and then the son and daughter moved to, you know, Alaska.
Or they're not interested.
Or they're
Sometimes
not
your child is
interested
not interested
at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, we get a lot of calls from people. I talk to a lot of sellers, and they have someone that is a family member, or maybe not a family member, that's just been managing the business in place, and they're like, I've always wanted this person to take over my business, but they just never had the money. So I did one of those deals, and I think I've talked about this in the past, where I said, well, why don't you bonus him the down payment? And he did, and we closed escrow.
See, that's why you want to talk to her, because you have ways, you think about outside of the box to make it happen.
You can make it happen if the buyer and seller want it to happen.
Right.
There's 15 different ways to structure the deal.
But awesome, but you have to have everybody in place that's ready, willing, and able.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, we want those people.
That's when the commissions do.
And
I've been working on commission for almost 30 years, and that is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And so I had to get really good at what I do, and I'm not boasting. I always tell my agents, you're not boasting if you're telling the truth. Don't go out there and make things up and say you've done things you haven't done. Just tell the truth. And we have a crew here. We sit at the table, you know, for monthly broker meetings. We talk about these deals. We share experiences, and we say, what could we have done better? What should we have done? What might have happened, or what are my options? And we sit and we talk about those things, even before we take a listing. What's the best price we can get for this that makes sense, that we know we have financing in place, either the seller or the bank? how can we best structure, and the structure of the deal. How much do you put on the equipment value, the inventory value? How do you structure those things? Is it an S corp? Is it a limited liability? Do we need to do a company sale or a stock sale, a company sale, or an asset sale? We figure all that out before we take the listing.
I love it. It
Have
shows
to.
how much you love what you do.
Well, you have to be competent, and my dad taught me all this. I
Yeah.
give the credit to him.
Yeah, you know what? That's what that's what makes it.
Yeah.
Right, it's in your blood, right?
It is, but I never wanted to be an agent. I came to WCI to buy a business, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But what's wonderful is that they do work on a contingency basis only.
Yes.
You will get them the most money for their business. That is what you're there for.
With the least risk.
With the least risk. I gotta write that down because that's awesome. Okay, we're gonna go to this one. The SBA recent changes.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, the SBA, they meet, I think it's every September, sometime in the fall every year, and they come up, of course, depends on what president you have in charge, but they talk about nixing the deal, cutting back on the financing, what are the amounts that need to be used up, and this time, they doubled SBA, so instead of SBA being $5 million on your top out for land building business, and you can buy 7 different businesses, but once you hit the 5 million point, that's all you can borrow. They changed it, 5 million for real estate, 5 million for business.
So now it's doubled.
It doubled it. And what most people don't know is that if you were to buy it separately from your husband, you have a wife and a husband, you do sole and separate property.
I was just gonna ask you that.
Now the husband can spend his 10 million and she can spend her 10 million. Now you've got 20 million.
Wow.
So if you do this right, you can quadruple what used to be allowed.
So you could get even more,
Yeah.
if what you're
And
saying.
stretch the loans much
Mhm.
further. And there's a lot that goes into that, and we go over that with buyers when we talk to them, what makes you eligible for an SBA loan, what are the rates, those types of things. And we have bankers that call us constantly, please let us in on your broker meeting. We have so many, we have to turn most away. We have a group that we work with on a regular basis.
So this is who you want to call when you are thinking about buying or selling a business. Their phone number is 602-795-2005. The website is WCIBroker.com. Final words real quickly.
Please call us, real estate agents, if you want to refer someone to us, or perhaps you've been thinking about being a business broker. We just hired 2 new people. We have a gentleman that used to work for us. He went away for a couple of years and decided that he was losing out. So now he's coming back. He's fabulous. So I think we're up to about 15 agents now. Our designated broker is Shelley Stryker. It's actually Stricker, but I call her Stryker. And she's really wonderful. She's also our transaction coordinator. Our gal at the front desk, Amy's been there 25 years. She's becoming a licensed person. We just have a lot of talent.
They love what they do, and they're going to help you get the most for your business. That's what they're here for, with no risk, without the risk, without as much risk
The
as
least
possible.
risk.
The least risk. Okay, their number is 602-795-2005. It's WCI Broker without the S.com.